Hey there, friends and enemies, Joper here again, and after seeing the early reviews, as well as playing both parts of the demo myself, I can confidently say that I believe Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be a Game of the Year contender in 2024. And now that's saying a lot considering how wild this year has started already. We have insane games that have already dropped, like Helldivers 2, Palworld Last Epic, games that have absolutely blown up, gone incredibly viral, and have insane player counts for what they are. And while none of those games will be mistaken for a massive, immersive, single-player experience, they all are insanely fun in their own right. And so that's a big hurdle. Not even mentioning a lot of the other games that are coming out this year that will absolutely challenge for Game of the Year. You have Dragon's Dogma 2, which looks like it's going to be an insane time. You have games like Stellar Blade, which could come under the radar. You have other RPGs. You have single-player games coming. We don't even know the majority of games that are dropping by the end of the year. But now that we know that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is hovering around a 92 and 93, and we've seen a bit more of what the game has in store for us, I still believe that this game will be in the top 3 at the very least when all is said and done. It improves dramatically on everything that Final Fantasy VII Remake does, while including more of an open world that will allow for much more exploration, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Final Fantasy VII Remake was very linear in the way that you handle it. Yes, you had some side quests, but they didn't take you really that far off the beaten path. Everything really pushed you in one direction. And that's all well and good, but it kind of lacked a bit of that RPG variety that people are looking for. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has insane amounts of mini games, side quests, exploration with the open world. You're anticipating some random things to find, a lot more secrets potentially to be uncovered, and I think all of that really is going to lend itself towards Final Fantasy VII Rebirth feeling more like the original, in where once you got out into the open world, you really had this whole new game to explore after the beginning was all said and done. So I'm really looking forward to that. After getting a taste of the combat, it feels much better. You have these team-up attacks that are absolutely sick, and just add a completely new layer to how combat works. You're continuing from Integrate, the fact that you can use summons in regular battles. You don't have to specifically wait for boss battles in order to use your summons, which I think is another really positive thing. You have a lot more companions to choose from, not only with the base crew that you had from Final Fantasy VII Remake, but also with additional characters who will be playable for the first time, or maybe not the first time, but playable altogether for the first time in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You have Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, you have Barret, and then joining them you have Yuffie, you have Red, and then Kate Sith is going to join the crew as well. So there's a lot of different variety now that we didn't have as much of with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which really only allowed you to really test out multiple teams for a short amount of time within that game. So that's why I'm really looking forward to Rebirth, is that it really feels like it's taking everything that we saw with the remake, which was a more concise package, and expanding upon that. Now, things can get lost when you do that. Things cannot feel as impactful if that is the case. But I do feel like this is going to be a grand adventure in comparison to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I'm really looking forward to. The visuals are better than they were in the last game, as it's only a PS5 title. It's not held back by last gen. You also have better combat, like I mentioned. You have a very interesting story that we don't know the direction it's going to go at this point, which is also very exciting. And I think the nostalgia is also going to help people get really excited about this game. You might consider Final Fantasy VII Rebirth the first true system seller for the PlayStation 5 as a standalone exclusive. Other PS5 games have come along and they've been pretty good, but this one is almost a must play for RPG enthusiasts, and so anyone who is interested, and especially if you've been on PS4, you've been holding out because you're waiting to see what game is going to capture your attention, what game is going to drive you to purchase a PS5 and an upgrade, this is going to be the time for a lot of folks, especially when you consider the next 3 months. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we have Rise of the Ronin, and we have Stellar Blade all back to back to back, and that's pretty wild to consider as far as PlayStation goes. Now, otherwise, I think this game is going to be so much fun. The things I'm most looking forward to: swapping out my team to find the best crew for what I want to do as a party, because you want a little bit of magic, you want a little bit of healing, but you also want a lot of firepower. And I think mixing and matching the characters is going to be a lot of fun for me personally. And then also being able to explore and find those secrets is something that I think is very, very exciting, because again, Final Fantasy VII Remake was a fantastic game and I really, really loved it. But this just feels so much bigger and better that it's unbelievable that we're getting it this year, shortly after Final Fantasy 16. I know not everyone loved that game, but I personally did. And I feel like as a Final Fantasy fan, I'm absolutely loving life right now. And we're getting a ton of JRPGs as well that are really exciting. So overall, I definitely want to know what you guys think. Are there any games out there that you would genuinely consider Game of the Year quality before they're even released, and any that will touch on that? I do think having such an expansive demo as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has is very important and allows you to really get a feel for the game. We already know from Remake that how the game's going to function in general. So now having Rebirth, we just know a bit more about that. Whereas with other games, maybe there's a bit more mystery. It could be a hit, it could be a miss, but I'm really curious to see how that all works out in the long run. So I'm excited about the combat, I'm excited about the visuals, I'm excited about the story, I'm excited about the exploration, and I'm excited about the mini games. There's so much to look forward to this game. It's almost overwhelming, and I can easily see myself putting in 100 hours or so, whereas Final Fantasy Remake was much shorter in comparison. And so again, all very exciting stuff that I think everybody should be jumping in and playing this game, checking it out. If you have a PlayStation 5, you have not played the demo, I highly encourage you to do it. Even the first part, when you play as Cloud and Sephiroth, is enough to really give you a taste of the game and what to expect. But the second part is really where you get a better idea on the scope of the game that I'm really excited about. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth content. I'm definitely looking forward to having a ton of it on the channel this week. I cannot wait. It's going to be an absolute blast. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.